Hello everyone, what's up? Welcome to another video from FPL Camp. In this series, we shall be taking a look at every single Premier League team in FPL terms for the 2021-22 season. In this video, we shall cover 5 teams which are Arsenal, Aston Villa, Brentford, Brighton and Burnley. Before we begin, I would like to say that if you enjoy the content, then please drop a like and comment on this video and share it among your friends. The support is invaluable. I have a lot of interesting content planned pre-season and throughout the season as well. So make sure you hit the subscribe button if you find the channel interesting. Hit the bell icon so as not to miss out on any new video. We start with Arsenal. They finished 8th last year. They were 9th in expected goals and 9th in goals scored, which is not great. A lot of it has to do with the poor form of their main frontman Aubameyang. Arsenal in the 2020-21 season had a season of two halves, wherein the second half of the season they had a major rise in form. They kept 12 clean sheets in the season, which was 5th overall. One of the major points to notice in Arteta's Arsenal is that they take very few shots in a game, as they have taken around 3 to 4 shots per 90 minutes, which is 13th in the league. They had a non-penalty goal involvement per 90 of 2.25, which is not really great. The stats are backed by the FPL performance of the players. Their defense performed the best for Arsenal. Aubameyang had a poor season, being classified as a midfielder, and during pre-season was touted to be one of the major picks for the season, which turned out to be a major letdown. Arsenal have a good overall fixture schedule according to the FPL FDR. Now it is important to take the FPL fixture difficulty rating with a pinch of salt, but since game week 4 they have a very favourable fixture run, which is comparable to that only of Wolves. However, the players are not top picks right from the start due to the fact that they play Chelsea and Man City in game week 2 and 3, two of the best teams from last year, at least in terms of defense. Add to that, we are still unsure what Arteta's Arsenal play like. They are still finding their identity, which makes it difficult for us to select who can be FPL assets. But provided that they can find some form, there are some real gems to be found from Arsenal this season, as the players are very reasonably priced and they have no European commitments, which makes for much less rotation headaches and players staying fresh as well. In goal, Leno is priced at 5 million. The entire Arsenal defense represents great value this season. They were already in the top 5 defenses last year, and with the new additions coming in, this should improve hopefully. Leno at 5 million is a good differential keeper one can keep an eye on, even though he had a drop in form last season. According to me, Tierney at 5.0 million is the pick of the lot. He had some injury concerns last season, but with no Europe this year, he should play majority of the Premier League games. Holding at 4.5, if he's nailed, is a cheap way into the Arsenal defense if they go on a roll. Similarly, Ben White, who is supposed to have completed his transfer to Arsenal, is also priced at 4.5 million and can be a really cheap, good buy-in at 4.5 million. Arsenal's attack was very average last season, and it is a wait and watch for me. Saka at 6.5 million is one of the great value picks, as is guaranteed to play most of the games. It'll be interesting to see where he's played, because sometimes he's deployed as a wing back and sometimes as a winger. Emil Smith-Rowe at 5.5 million can be a strong differential explosive option, as we saw towards the end of last season, if that number 10 position is guaranteed for him. But it is being rumored that Arsenal are in the market for a new number 10, so it's expected that he'll be rotated and his minutes will be numbered. Nicolas Pepe had a very strong finish to the season last year, and if he starts well this season, then he can be a bargain at 7.5 million from that game week 4 run that we talked about earlier. Now, many of the teams right now have Grealish in their picks, and I think Pepe is a very good replacement for Grealish if we see that he is coming into some form. Aubameyang has been moved to his forward position, and I expect him to bounce back, especially if he's played up front. Now, during the preseason games, at least that is the couple of preseason games that we have seen from Arsenal, Aubameyang has received a number of chances, but he's not yet back to his best. Let's just put it in that way. He had malaria and the entire COVID situation last season. I think it didn't help him as well, last year. Now, he's priced at 10 million this year, and which is quite steep to be honest, because not many are going for a premium forward. And I don't expect many to go from him right from the start. But I think in the first wildcard, Oba can be a good pick, a nice differential pick, especially if he shows some return to form. And but for people who have Kane in their draft, so they can get Oba in straight away with one single transfer in. But again, I mean, it's a wait and watch. And in short, the entire Arsenal attack at this point of time is a wait and watch, because we are not yet sure of their playing identity yet, and that is very important, as we all know, in FPL. Next up is Aston Villa, who had a great start to the 2020-21 season, but the injury to their star player Jack Grealish hit them hard. They were 9th and 10th in the leagues for goals scored and expected goals respectively. Defensively, they were excellent, particularly due to their exceptional signing of Martinez from Arsenal, who made saves after saves after saves. Villa tends to take a large number of shots on target in 90 minutes, and they were 6th in the league in that stat, which is great. Their expected goal involvement per 90 minutes is also decent. Last season, their top FPL assets across each position were Martinez in goal, Matt Targett in defense, Grealish and Traore both in midfield, and Watkins in the forward position. Both Martinez and Watkins were new signings and were brilliant FPL assets. Villa have the best 3 opening fixtures, playing Watford, Newcastle and Brentford this season, but then have a difficult run of fixtures from game week 4. However, it is interesting to note that last season Villa actually played well against such sides who like to have the ball, so this fixture difficulty rating needs to be taken with a pinch of salt. Villa players still offer excellent value this season in FPL. In defense, if you're looking for a set and forget goalkeeper, then look no further than Martinez at 5.5 million. Yes, he's costly, but if his recent performances at the Copa America is anything to go by, then he's worth it. So if you can find that extra 1 million, then just go for him in your keeping position. In defense, both Target and Mings have a price rise of 0.5 million this year, and at that price, I think there are better value players elsewhere, especially in the 4.5 million bracket this season, and also in the 5 million bracket. You have the likes of Sufal, Tierney, so on and so forth. But yeah, I mean, for the starting 3 fixtures, you can definitely punt on them. Now, in terms of attack, in the midfield category is where Villa shine. If Grealish stays, and there are reports that Manchester City is interested in him, but Aston Villa hierarchy are planning not to sell him. So if he stays, then at 8 million he's the star asset, and I expect him to have another brilliant FPL season. Bertrand Traore finished the season strongly with 7 goals and 7 assists overall throughout the season, and at just 6 million he can be a bargain buy, especially if he nails down that starting place. But the player I'm most excited by is Buendia. Now he has been signed from Norwich City. He's Premier League experienced, and he had a tremendous season in the Championship last year. And at just 6.5 million, he's expected to be on set pieces, and with a strong settled Villa squad, he can do wonders. So Norwich is comparatively weaker than Villa on paper, at least, player for player, that is. But so yeah, I mean, Buendia in this Villa team, which is a step up from Norwich, can be a brilliant buy, and also a brilliant asset in FPL as well. In the forward line, there is Ollie Watkins at 7.5 million, and he's decently priced, and he's among a horde of 7.5 million forwards, as we have already seen. And last year he had a very good debut season. He was always involved. He won a lot of penalties. He finished the season strongly, especially in the absence of Grealish. He still managed to tick over those FPL points, and he underperformed his XG a bit slightly last season, but now with Buendia added to Grealish supplying him, I mean, he should just get better. Next up we have is the promoted side Brentford. Now I managed to gather some championship stats for them, but championship stats are really difficult to get. So what we can see is that and also listening to a few podcasts, what I could understand is that they're a very attacking side, with first for goals scored last year in the championship, second for expected goals, and third for shots on target per 90 minutes. And as it is with all the promoted teams, it is very difficult to say how they will perform this season. So generally, what I take, at least with the promoted teams, is to have a wait and watch approach, because we're not yet sure how they will adjust to the Premiership, which is quite a step up from the Championship level. So yeah, so my suggestion will be the same, to just have a wait and watch approach for them. Now, Brentford have an average fixture difficulty rating, at least according to the FPL website, for the first 6 game weeks. In consideration, they actually face some of the very best defenses of the league, at least according to last season and also historically. Barring Crystal Palace, who have a new manager, so yeah, it's not the old Crystal Palace who used to sit deep and were more or less a strong defensive, cohesive unit. So yeah, so I don't think it will be very easy for them. There are some players from Brentford who I have on my watch list, and I couldn't really earmark any major defensive asset. If you want to punt with your rotating keeper, then I think Raya at 4.5 is a great option. He can get some decent save points. It is expected, at least. But the attack is where Brentford might have some real gems, and there are 3 players who I am really monitoring close. I'm really keeping an eye on. And also trying to listen to some championship experts who play FPL, and to see how actually they will perform, especially in the preseason. So there is Mbuemo and Canos. Both are at 5.5 million. Hope I have pronounced their names correctly. So they can be really decent picks in FPL, and they're just at 5.5 million. And there is, of course, the present star, which is Tony, who at 6.5 million is actually the highest owned striker in FPL as of now. And that is primarily due to the fact that he had a ridiculous 41 goal involvements in the Championship last season. And to be honest, the best part of owning him is that if Brentford score, majority of the time you can expect him to be involved. So it's either in the form of goals or in the forms of assists. He is also on penalties for Brentford. So yeah, he's like that one-man army kind of a thing. So he's, like I said, the highest owned striker as of now. So yeah, definitely someone to keep an eye on, and I am really following even Tony at least very closely, along with these 2 midfielders in the preseason, to see how they perform. Now we have the team for statisticians, Brighton. They have been insanely good on both ends of the pitch, at least stats wise, but somehow they do not have the end results to back it up. And they have significantly underperformed their XG, expected goals against, last season, and also missed 3 out of the 9 penalties. It's very frustrating to own Brighton assets. They had a decent defensive track record towards the end of last season, somewhat good track record. It's important to note that Brighton tend not to take too many shots on target. So yeah, they are mostly possession-based teams, and I think it's due to lack of a really clinical finisher, which puts them off taking too many shots on target. Last season, Sanchez replaced Ryan as the first choice goalkeeper, and that's when the Brighton defense really started to perform. Sanchez made some decent saves, and in the second half of the season, their defensive stats were quite good, as I have already mentioned. Dunk was once again in the goals, and for a centre back, it's really amazing to see how every year, season after season, he tends to score those goals. While Trossard chipped in from midfield, so he was the highest FPL point scorer from midfield. Maupay had a very disappointing season. He was missing chances after chances, he missed penalties, he was dropped from the team, but he was still the highest scoring forward. Although Danny Welbeck came a close second to him. Now, Brighton have a great set of opening fixtures where they only face one of the top 6 teams from last season in the first 6 game weeks. This is the reason why Sanchez is so highly picked as the set and forget goalkeeper at 4.5 million, and with Ryan gone, is the undisputed number 1 in the team as of now, at least. Brighton defense continue to offer great value, and they really can't keep on underperforming their underlying stats. So, even though they are losing Ben White to Arsenal, which will affect them, albeit it's hoped not too much, because Brighton tends to defend as a team rather than with individual players. So it's expected that they will keep up their defensive performance. Dunk at 5 million is the is a very stable set and forget. I mean, is a very stable, proven FPL player. Let's just put it in that manner, not a set and forget. Sorry about that. He's always amongst the goals, and I mean, for a centre back, it's really ridiculous as to like the number of goal involvements he keeps on having season after season. We have Lamptey at 4.5 million, who is the Twitter favorite as of now. Because I mean, when he was fit last season, he was just brilliant, and I mean his underlying stats were also quite good. And before he picked up the injury, I mean he was more or less playing as a right winger rather than as a right back or as a right wing back, and he was really unlucky not to return more FPL points till the time that he was playing. Veltman at 4.5 million is also a cheap way into the Brighton defense, but yeah, I mean Lamptey is obviously much will offer a higher ceiling of points. Now, the thing with Lamptey is that he's coming back from a long-term injury, so it's really important to see how his fitness is and how he performs, especially during the preseason. So yeah, it's something to keep an eye on. But if fit, then I think Lamptey is the best pick in the from the defense, at least for Brighton. In midfield, Trossard at 6.5 million is the best option for me. He runs hot and cold, but I mean that's more or less every Brighton attacking players. So yeah, I would really not bank on him from the start personally, but you can keep him in your watch list, and a few people are going for him as a differential pick, especially due to the fixture run that Brighton have. So yeah, I mean he's an option, but for me there are better options near about in that price range, or paying if you can pay like 1 million extra, you get Jota from Liverpool. So yeah, I mean, or even Saka is a much more better pick than Trossard. At least based on what we have seen last season. Finally, we have Burnley, whom we all look forward to for those cheap defensive assets every year. Burnley had a very poor season last year, and they somehow managed to escape relegation, primarily to the even worse form of the other three teams. But they still managed to keep 11 clean sheets, and in trademark Burnley fashion, which was 6th best in the league. So with the new ownership and some new signings incoming, the squad should be refreshed to give us those strong defensive performances once again, which we have come to associate with Sean Dyche and his team. Last season, Pope was once again the standout FPL player between the sticks, and Chris Wood's goal were like a big reason for them avoiding relegation. Now, Burnley have a difficult start to the Premier League in terms of fixtures, and I would avoid most of their assets to begin the season, at least. For Burnley, again, it's the defense where the FPL value usually lies. So, Nick Pope can be a set and forget option, although he's priced at 5.5 million, and I mean, Emi Martinez is a better pick than him at this point of time, at least. Tarkowski being priced at 5 million really puts me off, as there are loads of other cheap options this season. Who are part of better performing teams and have better fixtures initially. There's still Taylor and Lowton down at 4.5 million. So I mean, when Burnley have a decent run of fixtures, and if we see that they are back to their strong defensive form, then I mean they can be quite good picks at 4.5 million. Perhaps during a first or second wild card, you can bring them in, or during the second part of the season, if Burnley defense is something that you're looking at. Taylor, who put his injury troubles behind him, should be the best pick among these two. Chris Wood is expected to join the Olympics and will miss the starting games of the season. And he's priced at 7 million this year, which is quite a steep price. And there are loads of other forward options at 7.5 million, and there is even Tony at 6.5 million. So yeah, I don't see Chris Wood becoming a very popular pick during the start of the season, at least. And but yeah, I mean you can always have him in your watch list, and with some good fixtures, he can prove to be a major differential. But yeah, it's a wait and watch for Burnley, at least at this point of time.